This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope y'all had a great weekend. It's Monday, February 10th, 2025. Today we have a couple of stories that were developing over the weekend regarding Trump administration announcements. And we've lost another Tuskegee Airman. My name's Ike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama. The National Institutes of Health, amid the Trump administration's federal cost-cutting binge, this past Friday night announced a major change to biomedical research grants that would have a big impact on some key medical institutions and have some worried about ripple effects across the state, according to AL.com reports. The NIH has capped indirect costs at 15% of the amount of the grants. Now, indirect costs refer to administrative and facilities costs. It could include paying for support staff, graduate students, custodial workers, security guards, and more, or most of the costs outside scientists' salaries and lab equipment. Now, according to NIH, grant recipients average spending 30% of their grant money on those indirect costs. It adds up to billions of dollars nationally. Now, in Alabama, those on the receiving end of NIH funding include companies such as Hudson Alpha and numerous universities. Birmingham Business Alliance President Steve Ammons didn't speak to exactly how this will play out, but did say that a reduction in funding to UAB would be a hit. Now, in 2022 alone, UAB pulled $400 million from NIH in medical research grants. After the announcement, U.S. Senator Katie Britt told AL.com she would work with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who will oversee the NIH if he's confirmed as health secretary. Britt said that as the administration strives to cut unnecessary spending, quote, a smart, targeted approach is needed in order to not hinder life-saving, groundbreaking research at high-achieving institutions like those in Alabama, end quote. Also today, the president is expected to announce 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports from any country. Now, if that's the case, this could indicate more of a pure protectionist tack than the previous negotiating tactics used by Trump against Canada and Mexico. The winners here could be the steel and aluminum producers in the U.S., who would see foreign competitors likely either charging more for their product or, if the price isn't right, selling less product in the States. Losers could include downstream companies such as car manufacturers and the shipping industry. Now, while it's to be seen whether any of Alabama's Republican leadership dare part with the Trump administration this week, it was the Port of Mobile's economic impact and Alabama's space industry and automakers that gave Governor Kay Ivey, quote, serious concerns back during Trump's previous use of tariffs in 2018. One of the few surviving Tuskegee Airmen passed away earlier this month, reports AL.com's Elena Bookman. He died in his home in suburban Detroit, Michigan. Harry Stewart Jr. was born in Virginia. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, the 18-year-old Stewart came to Alabama to become a fighter pilot. He trained in Tuskegee and served with the all-black 332nd Fighter Group in World War II. Stewart won the Distinguished Flying Cross for taking down 3 German aircraft during a dogfight in 1945. He stayed in the Air Force Reserve and was recalled for duty during the Korean War and retired as a lieutenant colonel. He told CNN last year, quote, I did not recognize at the time the gravity of what we were facing. I just felt as though it was a duty of mine at the time. I just stood up to do my duty, end quote. Harry Stewart Jr. was 100 years old. For some of these Alabama place names that we've been doing, you have to rely a little on local lore. This is one of those. The story comes to us through AL.com reporter Kelly Kasich, and it was reported years ago by Mike Marshall of the Huntsville Times and surely other places. The Alabama place is Lick Skillet. Now, oddly enough, this isn't the only use of the name. Lick Skillet is a place in Alabama. There's a Lick Skillet Trail in Gunnersville and a place in present-day Oxford that used to be a community called Lick Skillet. There may be more. But today we're concerned with the Lick Skillet area near Hazel Green in Madison County. You know, the one on Butter and Egg Road. Note to our New Jersey audience, I'm not making any of this up. Now, the story told by a Tennessee DJ whose granddaddy owned a general store at the intersection of Charity Lane and Butter and Egg Road. The dates are hazy, but it might have been during the 1930s. The DJ, Bill Malone, said his Uncle Hut got into a fight one day in that general store, as folks would. In any other establishment, Hut's luck might have gone differently in the fight, but it turns out that general stores almost always had skillets around. According to the story, Hut grabbed a skillet and laid it upside his opponent's head. Well, that ended the fight. Everybody talks about how Hut gave that fella a lick with a skillet, and the name formed from that. At least that's the story. I'm willing to bet a nickel, though, that most of the other lick skillets in Alabama, and some beyond, were inspired by local culinary habits. But I don't know that for sure. Thank y'all for listening to us. We're going to be back here again tomorrow. Until then, y'all come on by and see what we're up to on the internet at al.com.